I'm Chad Sanders. I'm at Chad Sand on Instagram. You know me as an author, a writer, TV writer. I am going to answer 5 of your questions about content and entertainment for the future. So here we go. Here are the 5 questions that I chose from all the questions you all sent to me on Instagram, on other platforms, in my webinars, etc. Here we go. Number 1. How do I make a vertical series? That is the question I'm probably getting the most frequently lately because companies like Netflix and HBO Max are rumored to be entering the vertical series game. So how do you make one? I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna give you my exact process for how I plan to make my vertical series. Number 2, how frequently should I be posting? That's a question everybody wants to know the answer to. Number 3, how do you know what to focus on in your content without spreading yourself too thin? That's another good question. Number 4, how do you know what the call to action is for your content? And number 5, and I get this question from so many actors, how do I market myself as an actor without coming off as too typical? What do I talk about? How do I market myself without doing any corny skits? All right, I'm gonna answer all 5 of those questions, and if you make it to the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you what to do next. Let's start with number 1. How do you make a vertical series? I'm going to open up this question quite a bit. This will probably be my most long-winded answer in all of these questions because there's a lot to consume here. So let me start with this. Why do you want to make a vertical series, okay? Why you want to make a vertical series is because if you want to enter the TV and film game, you need to create something that is as small budget and as clear in terms of representing your talents as possible so that people who might want to give you access to more resources, such as bigger budgets, network studios, production vehicles, etc., will see your storytelling capability in that thing that you've made and try to find you so that they can offer you their vehicles for larger storytelling. Now, let me tell you how I came into the TV and filmmaking space. And I'm gonna tell you about why that's different today and why that leads to us making vertical series, okay? So the way that I got into this thing almost 10 years ago was the same way that almost everybody got into the TV and movie game, which is you start by writing a TV pilot. You start by writing something short form, maybe a short film, just something that on the page demonstrates to someone you understand the mechanics of storytelling for the visual medium well enough that you would be able to expand on those mechanics to go and make something bigger, something real, something that actually goes in front of people's eyeballs, okay? That's how I got access to Spike Lee and his mentorship. That's how I got to go write on Grownish and rap shit. That's how I got to sell a bunch of TV shows and movies in Hollywood. Today and in the future, I am not going down that same path anymore, okay? Because what I have learned over the last few years is that it is a very rare thing for you to put a screenplay, right? 30, 60, 120 pages of written screenplay, of written screenwriting in front of someone, and for them to consume all of that, use their imagination, an executive or producer, and say, you know what? This person has a voice. I want to empower them. Today, people want to skip that hard process, the process of reading, using their imagination, and then deciding that they want to empower you. They want to skip that whole process. And what they want to jump to is they just want to see something you've already made. And they want to see how people have already responded to that thing you've made. And by people, I mean people on audiences on socials, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, wherever it is that you're willing and eager to post your visual creative content. They want to see those audiences forming behind your voice before they take the risk of saying, all right, now that we've seen what that person can do on the page, we want to put money behind them. They don't want to do that anymore because you have every vehicle now to take the further step, which is to go start making your thing and putting it out there in front of people so that executives can do the easy thing, which is to say, all right, that's good enough. We see that 100,000, 10,000, 50,000, a million people are into this person's voice. Now we'll invest in them to see what else they can produce here. That's because the industry is contracting. There's less money running around in the industry. And so people have to take more conservative bets with their money, okay? So why does that lead to the vertical series? First of all, what is a vertical series, okay? When we talk about the vertical series, all we're saying is we're taking the existing format for modern storytelling in the visual media, meaning TV shows, movies, and we're changing the dimensions just a bit, okay? How are we changing those dimensions? What you're watching right here is horizontal storytelling, right? Because I'm shooting this for YouTube. And so you're watching me the way that you watch a movie, which is that the screen is long in landscape. In a vertical series, the screen is just going to be tilted this way, like your phone screen, because that's where people consume content today. But there are other ways the dimensions are different. Time, for instance. In the vertical series, the time of an episode is going to be something like a minute to 3 minutes long, okay? Optimized for shorter attention spans and for the shorter form medium that these social media apps prefer, right? In other words, your series, okay, unlike the content that you're posting today on Instagram, which is probably just every single video is its own thing with its own life. There's probably very little in the way of continuity or a through line in the storytelling. In the vertical series, right, your episodes 1 to 10 of the content that you're posting on Instagram or on TikTok, etc., in the vertical format, they're going to have a through line, just like on TV, scripted or non-scripted. They're going to have main characters. They're going to have a conflict. There's going to be an arc there. There's going to be something that the main characters want and something that's trying to stop them from getting that thing, right? Just the basic format of storytelling for the visual medium that has always existed will continue to exist in this medium, except the episodes will be shorter and they'll be shot like this, all right? Which means that the technology you already have in your hand, your phone, is every bit as advanced as you need it to be to make a good enough version of your short form vertical series to get the attention of decision makers that you're trying to reach. Let me say that a lot more plain. Let me actually get into exactly how I'm going to make my own vertical series. I'm going to say it so bare, okay? I don't need any fancy equipment to make a TV series for Instagram. I don't. I have a phone that has a camera that is every bit as powerful and versatile as a camera that I would spend $3,000 on, because if I go and buy the $3,000 camera and then post that video on Instagram, the video that I would shoot with my phone has just as good a chance to reach as many people as possible as the one shot with the big fancy camera, okay? And so, same thing for the microphone. This audio that you hear right now, which I'm also capable of mixing and editing with the technology embedded within Instagram or within the phone itself, this is good enough for your vertical series. And so here's what I'm gonna do. Some of you have already begun to watch me execute this play. I am going to write short episodes, right? 1.5 to 3 minutes each, featuring a small number of characters per episode, right? Probably no more than 3 or 4. In some episodes, as few as 1 character. And I am going to cast for those characters, as in find my actors, by posting those scripts on social media, which you've seen me already do, and then putting a call to action to actors, send me your self-tapes or post your self-tapes and tag me so that I can find the right actors for my vertical series, all right? Once I have found those actors, which for the first episode, I have at this point already found them. Next, I am going to ask those actors only for about 2 or 3 hours of their time, because I don't need a full day of shooting. I don't need a full week of prep to go out and shoot something that's gonna be 2 minutes long, one scene, one location, all right? With 2 or 3 actors, myself included in the scene. I don't need a gazillion hours. I don't need a gazillion hands on deck. I don't need production assistants and crafties and all this other stuff. What I need is a couple willing actors and my phone. I'm gonna go out there with the actors, shoot the scene, right? Thank you, actors. Pay them some money, send them home. I'm gonna go home with the content. I'm gonna shoot every possible angle that I can get in 2 hours. I'm gonna have the characters hold the phone at certain times, so there's like really, close-ups. Really tight close-ups. I'm gonna have them try different things, try different tones, do all the on-set work that we need to do to pump this out. Then I'm gonna go home with all that footage, and I'm gonna edit it myself using Instagram's editing tools. I'm not gonna use any other fancy editing tools. I don't need them. I don't need all that fancy editing, all the fancy editing software. I don't need to spend 100 hours learning how to use new software. I can do what I need to do with my iPhone and Instagram's editing features. I'm going to edit that one scene into one episode. That is one episode of my vertical series. I'm going to take that to Instagram and I'm going to offer it to the world by posting it. I'm going to share in the caption what this is. This is episode 1 of my vertical series. It's called ... The characters are these. I found them. I tagged them. I'll probably do a collab post with these other 2 actors to reach their audiences as well. And I'm going to watch how people engage with it. Do they like it? Do they share it? Do they comment on it? Do they say, oh, this is an interesting way to make a new project? After I do 5 of these or 10 of these and share all of them, do I start getting the attention of decision makers? That oftentimes happens with me when I post certain types of content. Oh, I'll start hearing from network executive here, producer here, investor here. They want to get involved. Oh, this person wants to sponsor the next one. Now suddenly I have a machine that is moving. It's got its own production cycle. It has its own financing options in terms of people who are willing to put money into it, to slap their sticker on it. I want an executive producer credit. Okay, you can have one. I want to put my brand in front of people at the end of this video. Okay, cool. We'll throw it at the end, at the ending credits. Whatever the case may be, the point is I'm going to make it as economically viable as possible. Meaning I'm going to spend as little money in the production of it as I possibly can while still making it something that I artistically stand behind. And when I distribute it, meaning when I put it out on socials, that's going to cost me $0. Because I'm doing the upfront work of building the audience for my creativity every day by using my voice to talk to my audience on socials, so that when I drop something like this, there are people already out there who are going to see it naturally, organically in their feed because I put it out after building that audience. Now, if one of these episodes, let's say I do 7 of these and the 7th one pops off, gets 100,000 views, right? Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of that, sort of hit episode by adding a little bit of budget on top of it, by sprinkling $20 a day, probably something like that, to make that video go in front of people, new audiences, people who don't follow me, so that they can see, oh, this is cool. And it has 100,000 views on it. People like that. They trust other people's tastes. They'll say, this must be something to watch. Then they watch it. They say, oh, that's pretty good. I want to see more of these. Well, great. They come back to my page. They see all the other ones that I've posted. And now that audience starts to multiply. That's the game here. That is the vertical series game you're going to start watching play out in front of you all over the place. If you start now, you will have the advantage of first mover advantage. And on top of that, you will start to get the attention of other people who are trying to build into these same vessels their own vertical series, who will be perhaps worthy collaborators for you, not just in the artistic sense, but maybe these are people who are looking for people to invest in their vertical series. So that's everything I can tell you right now about how to make your vertical series. If you want to learn more, I would suggest you come to my webinar this Friday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is in my bio, where I will be sharing more with you about my own plans and what I think are smart ways to use content now and in the future if you want to be a part of the future of Hollywood here, okay? Let's get into questions 2 through 5. Question 2, how frequently should I be posting? Okay, here's what this question means. And here's why people ask it all the time. The question is, people understand now on a high level, I need to be posting stuff. That's what people understand. If I want to get further as an entrepreneur, if I want to get further as a filmmaker, if I want to get further just in my, let's be so honest, in my social circles, if I want to elevate in status in my community, I'm supposed to be posting. That's what people tell you. If I want to get a new job, if I want to get promoted, I'm supposed to be using my voice and my image to reach people so that they see me a certain way and elevate me and get behind what I'm doing and see value in what I'm doing. I can sell them stuff, etc. How much should I be posting? All right, I'm going to give you the most honest answer to that question. And I'm gonna use myself as the guinea pig, okay? When I first started breaking into Hollywood, people who were trying to help me, people who were invested in me going far, right? Because they had 10% contracts with me, meaning commission contracts with me, agents, managers, okay? They told me then, just like everybody told me, you need to use socials so that this will go bigger and faster. And I resisted it because I think ultimately because I felt insecure. Meaning I was afraid that if people saw me out there, they might see me as a fraud. They might see me as someone they could take advantage of. They might see me as, if they knew what my ambitions were, and if I was telling them the story of where I was trying to go and I didn't get there, they might see me as a failure, right? I thought maybe people who knew me from my previous times in my life might look at me and how I was communicating and who I was showing up as on the internet and say, that's not who he is. He's the guy that I used to know. And he was like this. He's a fraud. He's a liar. He's not being real. And I also just, frankly, I didn't know how to use the tools. Like, we all know how to shoot a video and put it on the internet, but you know, there is a layer of sophistication that you can reach by doing it over and over and over again that just makes it a little bit better, good enough so that it can hit a wave and really explode, okay? And I've started to watch that happen for myself and others that I've been servicing as clients over the last year and a half. You don't know what you don't know, but that's another story. How frequently should you be posting though? Here's the thing. I now have a business, this one right here, where the more people that I reach every day, the higher the probability that one of those people is going to say, I like how this guy thinks. He seems to know what he's talking about. He looks like somebody that I wouldn't mind working with. I have an urgent need that I want him to help me with. I want to do business with him. I want to give him my money so that he can fix a problem for me, whether it's my content problem, whether it's a problem that I have internally that's stopping me from doing the work I need to do here, whether it's something that that person actually wants me to write for them or make for them, whatever the case may be. I know if I reach 1,000 people, probably one of them will want to do business with me. If every single time I post a video, the floor, for instance, just on Instagram, the floor is that video is going to reach 1,500 to 2,000 people. The answer to how frequently I should be posting is however much money I want to make. Let's just be real about it. The answer for you, right? If you're an actor and you're looking for opportunities, and every time you post, there is a 0.1% chance that the person out there who is going to give you an opportunity is going to see it, reach out, and y'all are going to make something happen. 0.1%, right? 1 out of 1,000. Then wouldn't that tell you that you need to post 1,000 times to guarantee that you're going to get that opportunity? That's math. What I'm saying to you is, if the question, I know I'm yelling and I know I come off as a broken record with this message, but there's no other answer. There's no artistically crafted, there's no magical answer. There's no cosmic answer to the question, how much should you be posting? The real answer to the question is, how much can you stomach posting until you get what you want? Remove from it for a second this idea that social media is this terribly sophisticated, savvy space where you have to show up as your most artistic self and where your image is just so precious. And I want people to see me as coy and thoughtful and enough with that. I'm so bored. I am so aggressively bored with people thinking and overthinking how they look on the internet, particularly people who will not do the work of posting. I'm so bored with you all because I'm sorry, this is a rant now, but I see you all out in public all the time. I live in New York City. I see the cool kids who think of themselves as the cool kids every week in Brooklyn, around this city, okay? I'm at parties with y'all sometimes. I'm in all kinds of, I'll keep it loose. I'll say I'm in community with many of you, okay? I be in y'all's houses from time to time. Number one, you're not that freaking cool, okay? As I want to say this, I'm not the arbiter of coolness, but I've been around them pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of in the spots like that. Y'all are not cool. Drop the ego. Let it go. You're not interesting. You're not famous. You don't have a bunch of people watching you. You got 4,500 followers, okay? That's a small amount of people. You're not like, I'm ranting because the point is this, is blocking you. And I've been there. This idea that you have a reputation to uphold and your image is so important and it's your identity and it's the way people see you and it's how you see yourself and you want people to want you and you want people to think of you as hard to reach. And God, if you want to be hard to reach, I'm sorry, but in the future of this industry, that means you're going to be poor. That means you're going to be out of work. That means you're going to be out of this whole thing. It's not like this anymore. You're not Brad Pitt, okay? You're not, I don't know. I don't even care about those. Like, I really don't care. I don't care who your fancy actor is in your head or director or person you looked up to as a kid or whatever. Like, none of that matters. You got to do it if you want to have a chance. I'm watching the people I'm close to who think of themselves as the cool kids, who are not even giving themselves a chance because they're so freaking coy about what they will or will not post. End of rant. My answer to your question, how frequently should you be posting? As much as your precious little ego can stomach until you get what you want. That is the answer. How do you know what to focus on without spreading yourself too thin in your content? You don't know what to focus on. That's what can be both challenging and exciting about beginning this process, is that you're using a roulette wheel, right? You're spinning a dial. You show up, you try something, you shoot first then aim, okay? That's an old like product development jargon from my tech days, but you try stuff, you experiment with yourself, with your voice, with your ideas, with your content, with your visuals, with your words, with your captions. This is a process for experimenters. The internet, this is a place for first drafts. You want to have a special fancy final draft? Publish a book, okay? Make a movie, all right? Make an album. That's where final drafts go. First drafts are what this is for. This medium, social media, is for you to put things that are, I don't want to say half-baked, okay? It's a place to put things that are good enough until the audience tells you what they want to see different in those things you're putting out there. And then you make those tweaks, you learn, you experiment, you trial and error, and then you will know what a final draft looks like for yourself. How do you know what to focus on without spreading yourself too thin? You don't know how to do that. I don't yet know where let me give you an example. You've probably seen me try 12 different products in the last year, okay? At least one a month to see what my audience responds to, right? I have a product where I write reel scripts for people. I have a product where I do monthly retainers, where I give people advisement on how to engage their audiences to turn them into business. I have product development products, okay? I have webinars where I offer services and products to people in person, live, while they're on the stream. That's because I'm learning and experimenting. And there's a rush. People want to rush to know, what is my niche, okay? What's the thing that I can ride out? What's the edge I can play for the rest of time that's gonna put money in my pocket and grow my brand, et cetera, et cetera. You just don't know until you experiment. If you can get yourself excited about the experimentation, I had no YouTube presence 2 weeks ago. Now look at me, this is my third one of these, okay? I'm gonna keep doing these and learning what is the exact length, format, voice, subject matter that my audience responds to, that makes them share this with others, and that brings them into my suite of offerings so that they buy stuff from me. But it's a process of experimentation. If you can't get excited about the experimentation, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot because you're gonna try to force yourself to have a niche that doesn't really fit you. Now you're gonna have the wrong shoe on the wrong foot for the rest of the time that you stick with that niche. And you're gonna wonder, why is this such a fight uphill? Why do people not click to this? Why is my voice not resonating in this space? It's because you didn't take the time to take a breath and try stuff before you go. I've made that mistake, okay? I don't wanna be empty advice guy who's acting like I did all these steps perfectly on the road, right? I'm on the road. But what I can tell you is that in the times when I've rushed to try to be like, I'm this, I'm a TV writer, I'm a movie writer, I'm this, what it all came back to at the end of it when I tried to force myself into a brand niche is, Chad, you're Chad. And you're learning who you are and what you offer people. And you learn that by crafting the offerings and putting them in front of people and seeing how they respond to them. You cannot go around that step. 2 more. How do you know what the call to action is? All right, these last 2 I'm gonna go quickly through. Call to action. In my opinion, all content should have a call to action at the end of it. Sometimes the action is just share this with your friends. Sometimes the call to action is feel something. Sometimes the call to action is more specific. And I wanna speak to that because the call to action on this video, all right, is 1, I want you all to subscribe to this channel for more of this content. I want you all to share this content with your friends. And I want you all to go to my Instagram at Chad Sand, go to the link in my bio and sign up for the webinar that I'm offering live that I will be hosting and sharing with you all on Friday, this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now, that's my call to action. It feels specific. It feels formulaic. It feels like something that you probably hear at the end of every single video. But that's because people understand that audiences need directions. You can't just put the thing out there and assume people are gonna read between the lines on what to do next. You gotta tell them because we are having our attention pulled in a million directions all day, every day. People asking us, do this, buy this, look at this, watch this, share this, yeah. You have to give your audience clarity. You have now consumed this meal. Here's what you do next. For me, right this second, I want you to smash that subscribe button because I got to blow this thing up. And because I want you to know the next time I make a video for you that it's there. I want you to share this and I want you to go to my Instagram and sign up for the webinar on Friday. Sometimes you're going to feel the answer to what should your call to action be is what do you want the audience to do? Do you want them to go to your website and buy your products? Do you want them to go to your YouTube and watch your videos? Do you want them to go to the bookstore and buy your book? What do you want them to do? That's the call to action. Be specific. You're going to feel overly specific when you say it. Get used to that because that's the game. Last question. How do I market myself as an actor without coming off as too typical? How do I market myself without doing any corny skits? I'm going to do a whole one of these just for actors. Okay, I'm gonna start rolling out a separate vertical suite of products and services just for actors because I get so many questions from actors. But here's what I wanna say, actors. You're not marketing yourself as an actor. That is not the mission here. The mission is to market yourself as a business partner, as someone that someone else should want to be in business with because you have an audience. Let me make it small before I make it big, okay? I am casting 2 actors for a vertical series. You saw me put the casting call out there. I got over 100 submissions. Each one of those submissions came from an Instagram profile. When I go look at those Instagram profiles, I can see how many followers those people have. That's important information to me. Why? Because if I'm going to shoot something with those people in it, and then later on collab posts with them to reach bigger audiences, the more people they have already built into their audience, the better for the possibility of my production reaching a huge critical mass of people. And that's what I want it to do. Now, does that mean I just go out and pick the people with the biggest followings? No, I didn't do that at all, honestly. But if I were a movie studio or a TV network, and what I was solving for is how can I reach the most people possible with something that has a chance to resonate with them? Of course I'm gonna cast the person with the humongous audience over the person of similar talent who has no audience. I'm saying all of that to say, if you want to reach people who can give you acting opportunities, I would encourage you to stop thinking of yourself as just an actor, because that's not valuable enough anymore. Not today. It's just not. I'll be so honest with you. We as a society, we as audiences, we do not value acting the way, as an art, as a craft, the way that you want to believe that we do. We don't. So if this is about hobby and craft and artistry for you, and only that, then continue to work at your craft, do your best, network, see what you can do. But if you understand that this is a business, a machine that is looking for not just actors, but business partners to put into its machine who come with audiences and their own vehicles into this thing, then you got to start building that audience, which means you might have to start doing some skits. If you're not a corny person, then they won't be corny. Do them to your taste level. Write them to your taste level. Act them to your taste level, and they won't be corny, and you don't have to feel ashamed of them. But you're not going to get where you want to go by just showing up and saying, here's my self-tape, here's my audition reel. Do you like me? You need more than that today. That's it. I'm done. Go to my Instagram right this second, @ChadSand. Go sign up for my webinar and subscribe to this right this second. Do it. Goodbye.